lovely evening to you. It's just gone 8 p.m. and you're watching the main news. I am Zain Jamu. Good evening, Joyce.
Good evening to you, Zain. Good evening to our viewers. My name is Joyce Mabika. Piswe Jominika is on sign language. Later on, Marilyn Gwenya will be joining us from our Montrose studios. Zain, today was a very busy day as people were hustling and bustling across town as they were trying to settle back at work.
Well, I hope that you've got those New Year's resolutions in check and are ready to hit the ground running.
Well, speaking of hitting the ground running, we start off with our leading stories tonight. Flash floods expose local authorities' flaws.
In business, construction of a tobacco processing plant to spur exports of value-added tobacco.
And in sport, Chevron's interim technical department names squad to take on Sri Lanka in one-day internationals this January.
And now for the news in detail. Good news for the people in Mashonaland Central Province who are anticipating significant industrialization and development in the province this year following the discovery of gas in the Muzarabani Basin late last year.
Prospects of industrialization and social transformation are high in Muzarabani and Bire districts after government confirmed and declared a gas discovery from the ongoing exploration by Australian Stock Exchange listed company Invictus Energy. Bire Rural District Council Chairperson Councillor Ishmael Chawakura said there is anticipation of downstream investment, while residents expressed hope of more employment opportunities being unlocked.
Vatotanga kushanda zvandiri kufunga kuti mukukura kuri kuita project tine vana vakawanda vachashandawo pano zvekare iyo Mbire ichakwanisawo kubudirira.
Tinenge tichitarisira kuti tibhenefitewo pazvinhu zvinenge zvaitika muarea sokuti tinonzwisisa kuti kana mamwe maarea kana panenge pabatwa kana gold kana ingava platinum kana chii nzvimbo idzodzo dzinowanzodevelopa.
Vana vedu chaivo ngavapiwewo zvokuita. Isu tikutoti zvavauya vegasi ava vamwe vanogona kutipinzira vana vedu mabasa.
Invictus Energy has been conducting 2-dimensional surveys and will be conducting more drilling and 3-dimensional seismic surveys in coming months to get more accurate information.
We need to declare a discovery. We have found gas. We have extracted it. So now, again, with a lot of these logging tools, it gives you a lot more information about the reservoir size. It's like seismic right down at 3.5 kilometers, so it's a lot more accurate.
Government is optimistic current developments will open up new horizons for the province and the country as a whole.
We're excited by the report that we received from Invictus, which was presented to His Excellency, about the progress in what they are doing on the ground, and we are told that there are very high prospects for gas so far.
Invictus Energy is supported by Geo Associates and One Gas Resources in its exploration activities. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Mbire.
Meanwhile, things are not as rosy for residents of Glenview 3 in Harare who are living in fear of contracting cholera and other waterborne diseases amid allegations of gross negligence by Harare City Council workers who pumped raw sewer out of the main hole and left it to flow on the surface.
Raw sewer left to flow just a few inches from the dining room. Mr. Fanzgo Makucha does her best to sweep the foul-smelling water. For the past week, she has endured the raw sewer pumped out from a manhole along 73rd Crescent in Glenview 3 by municipal workers. She says her children are now complaining diarrheal infections.
Vadiki sokuti mwachanga chitorwara izvo zvari kurutsa ndifunga ikorera vana vadiki zvisingatomboita ine munhu mukuru chaiye mweya wacho ndikutadza kufema ko watimwe mwana anotorwara nawo.
The fears are genuine as children are left seriously exposed.
Umu mamuri kuona umu mengo dziri kudonha umu vana vachikonhonga umu vari kuzokonhonga mengo umu vachitodya kuno vari kuti kunokorera handiti hapana chavari kugadzirisa
vakaburitsa zvinhu zvavo apa vanosiya zvakadaro havaisi kana mushonga imomo handiti mukuona kuti ichirimo isiweji yega yega hapana kana mushonga
hatizoti vada kuti vana tivaite sei ozvinezvi vana vari kungochaya hapana akatambira musiweji asi vari kuchaya vana nekungofema mweya wacho saka hatisi kuziva kuti vada kuti tiite sei.
The residents have been egged by the approach of the municipal workers.
Masuweji vanhu vekanzuru tinoenda kunomangara wouya wounganza panapa ndakanobvunza ndikati muda kuti zviite sei maneja wacho akataura kuti munotaura kuti mune utsanana madii kutakura nebhara renyu.
Handimukona zvese zvapakaita apa tisu takatozoklina tega vakapedza mushonga chevavese ini ndiri kutorwara ndofunga itori korera iyoyo vakatongopedza chete vatosumuka voenda isusu takusara takubata tsvina dzacho asi hatitambiri kukanzuru.
Their fears are valid, as Glenview is one of the traditional hotspots for the deadly cholera disease. Efforts to get a comment from the Harare City Council spokesperson, Mr. Stanley Gama, were fruitless, as his mobile phone was unreachable.
Well, that's a terrible health hazard right there. However, on a positive note, Zimbabwe will take over the Southern African Development Community Chairmanship this year in August, which is going to be the major highlight of 2024 for the country.
2024 is expected to be an eventful year for Zimbabwe on the diplomatic and political fronts, on the back of general elections in 2023 and a busy schedule for the Second Republic, which implemented a number of developmental projects in 2023. Zimbabwe is set for other major events this year. The country will go for by-elections on the 3rd of February following squabbles in the opposition political outfit Citizens Coalition for Change, which prompted the interim Secretary General, Mr. Sengezo Shawangu, to recall some legislators from Parliament. Preparations for those elections are already underway, with political parties on the ground canvassing for support. In the same month, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is set to attend Africa Union Summit to be held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with Zimbabwe looking at accelerating the engagement and re-engagement drive through meeting potential investors, African heads of state, and other delegates such as the Secretary General of the United Nations. In August, Zimbabwe will host the SADC Summit at the new Parliament building in Mount Upton, which will see President Mnangagwa taking over as chairman of the regional bloc. During his New Year's message, President Emmerson Mnangagwa said the country's assumption of the SADC chairmanship will see Zimbabwe consolidating its position as a key member of the bloc by presiding over key economic and political developments in the region.
On the diplomatic front, the election of Zimbabwe as incoming chair of the Southern African Development Community is both a recognition and honor to the nation as a founding member of the organization.
Still on the diplomatic front, Zimbabwe is awaiting the outcome of its application to rejoin the Commonwealth as the country forges ahead with its engagement and re-engagement thrust. Zimbabwe pulled out of the Commonwealth back in 2003 after a fallout with Britain, which was not happy with the Zimbabwe's move to correct colonial injustices through land redistribution. However, the birth of the Second Republic in 2017 has seen the country engaging and re-engaging the international community after adopting the friends to all and enemy to none philosophy. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Ambassador Frederick Shawa, recently told ZBC News that the outcome of Zimbabwe's application to rejoin the Commonwealth is expected early this year, ahead of this year's Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting scheduled to be held in Samoa in October.
Rwanda as the current chair of CHOGM, and they did indicate to us that Zimbabwe may be accepted back into the Commonwealth before the next CHOGM.
Zimbabwe is also expected to attend the BRICS summit in Russia later this year after making an application to the bloc. BRICS, a grouping of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, recently admitted 5 other nations, United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, and Egypt into the bloc, which is gaining global economic influence. Bruce Chawanda, ZBC News, Harare.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police has vowed to ensure that the prevailing peaceful environment is enjoyed by the majority of the citizenry during the 2024 calendar year for the attainment of national development goals.
With a largely peaceful festive season coming to an end, the Zimbabwe Republic Police is on guard to maintain the prevailing serenity for socio-economic development to take place. ZRP spokesperson Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati said the police force is ready to fulfill its constitutional duties for the fulfillment of the National Development Strategy 1.
As the nation celebrates and embraces the onset of the new year, that is the year 2024, the Zimbabwe Republic Police assures Zimbabweans that the security situation in the country is peaceful and conducive for all socio-economic activities to take effect. However, the Zimbabwe Republic Police is aware of efforts by certain individuals and groups to engage in nefarious social and economic destabilizing activities through unsanctioned gatherings, economic sabotage, and sending alarming messages to the public through the social media and some activists. The Zimbabwe Republic Police has a constitutional obligation to maintain law and order in the country and ensure that the Second Republic's developmental projects under the National Development Strategy 1 take place in a conducive environment.
The Zimbabwe Republic Police has a constitutional obligation to maintain law and order in the country, hence the call for Zimbabweans to conduct themselves in accordance with the law.
May I reiterate and assure Zimbabweans that the Zimbabwe Republic Police is ready to deal with any malcontent and unruly elements bent on causing chaos, disorder, and despondence among Zimbabweans in the year 2024. The police urges Zimbabweans to continue with their day-to-day activities as the safety and security of everyone is guaranteed in the country.
Meanwhile, Zim dancehall sensation Energy Chizanga, popularly known as Freeman, has been taken for questioning by the CID homicide in connection with criminal allegations and association to armed robbers. This was confirmed by Assistant Commissioner Paul Nyati this Tuesday. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
BRICS, an economic bloc comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, this Monday welcomed 5 new members in a development described by analysts as a giant step towards an end to the United States of America's dominance and unfettered influence on the global economic order. The bloc is chaired by Russia's President, Mr. Vladimir Putin.
Originally made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, BRICS this Monday announced the approval of applications by the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Ethiopia, and Egypt to join the economic grouping. Several other countries, including Zimbabwe, have also expressed interest to join the grouping, having noted the existence of mutually beneficial economic cooperation that exists in the bloc. The development has since been described by analysts as a signal to the major shift in the balance of economic power and influence across the globe.
The expansion of BRICS is strategic for both Russia and China, for instance, as the big powers in this association, whereby they are trying to disengage from political, economic, and social confrontations with the United States, primarily with the United States, because you realize that the United States is big militarily, it's big economically, so they are decentralizing and devolving this idea of engagement. And it's also good to see how small players or countries that are considered small global players can play an influential role in changing the political and the geopolitical dynamics in global politics.
For others, the United States of America's unilateralism in global politics is soon coming to an end owing to BRICS expansion.
The geopolitical implications of the expansion of the BRICS group of nations is that it is something that dovetails with what the world is now seeking to achieve, to achieve a multilateral world that is more accommodating and seeking to create an alternative that bypasses the world superstructure is created by the contemporary liberal world that we see today in the West.
BRICS Summit held in August 2023 in South Africa, proposals for the development and adoption of a BRICS currency were discussed in a move that analysts believe will weaken the global dominance of the United States dollar. Bruce Shawanda, SABC News, Harare.
Livestock farmers have been implored to remain vigilant in the fight against tick-borne diseases, particularly during this time of the year when ticks are at their peak breeding period.
The government has set a target of increasing the national herd from 5.6 million to 11 million by 2030. Hence, it is rolling out several initiatives to protect and increase the national herd.
This Tuesday, the ZBC News crew toured farms in and around Mazoe area of Mashonaland Central Province, where farmers expressed gratitude to government for the presidential Tigris Blitz program, which is proving to be a game changer in saving their animals from January disease as well as related tick-borne diseases.
Chirongwa chatakaunzirwa chakatibatsira, takanga tarasikirwa nemombe, zokurasikirwa zviya zvokuti chero vana kuendesa kuchikoro tanga taakutotambura. Asi nekuda kwekuzonunurwa kwatakaita nehurumende kutipa matikigris kunyanya pachena, ava vanotibatsira kuti tinge tichizorera budikidza nokudzidziswa kwatakaitwa munzvimbo dzakavanzika panohwanda madare. Zviri kutibatsira, taona kushanduka zvikuru kwekuchengetedzwa kwezvipfuyo zvedu.
Chirongwa chakatinakira pakuti mombe dzinochengetedza zvakanaka.
Director of Veterinary Field Services Dr. Jairus Machakwa implored cattle farmers to regularly dip their animals to protect the national herd.
Murimi woga woga anofana kuendesa mombe dzake kudhibhi. Pakati apa pekuti kana akadhibhisa mande, zvoreva kuti anofana kuzodhibhisa zvakare muvhuro unodi unoteera. Pakati apa kwapera kana mazuva maviri, murimi woga woga anofana kutarira kuti mombe dzangu dzakachena here, hadzina here magupa. Dzobva dzadima dzochiiswa pamukoto kuti dzinyatsobatika zvakanaka, dzochizorwa tigrisi iyai panzvimbo dzinoda magupa. Nokuti magupa haangorumi pese pese, anoruma imomo munyanga umu, munzeve umu, muhapwa umu, pane nhengo apa.
The presidential Tigris scheme was launched in 2020 under the Livestock Recovery and Growth Plan, and to date more than 1 million households have since benefited.
Besides the presidential Blitz Tigris program, the government is also targeting to construct more than 5,000 deep tanks by 2025 to boost the national herd. Peter Jivima, ZBC News, Mazoe.
Meanwhile, livestock farmers in Matabeleland South Province are relieved by the availability of grazing pastures following the recent rains received across the country.
By mid-December last year, almost all water sources in Matabeleland South Province had dried up, leaving farmers contending with animal deaths, which saw them doubling their efforts to save their herds from the devastating drought. However, things have since changed, with rains received from the last 2 weeks of the year transforming pastures, while small dams and other water reservoirs are now filled up.
After 7 days, sizabona ukuthi into phakathi kwenkomo zethu ngoba inkomo eziningi sesifethe zinkomo eziningi ziwile kakhulu ngenxa yendlala lamanzi lungasela amanzi asekhona ngibonani inkomo zizaphakama njalo ngibona wonke umuntu ujabulile ngezulu ukuthi izulu selikhona kuzalinywa kube lokudla inkomo zonke ezikhona lezi seziza kusurvive
bese sidangela ukuthi lo nyaka sina kulima kodwa njengoba selimile sizazama ukuthi silime izilimo ezizayenza ukuthi kona sithole ukudla, izilimo lezi ezincane ezinjengamabele umumbu lo we-3 months.
Normal to below normal rains were predicted for the 2023-2024 summer cropping season, with livestock farmers being encouraged to consider water harvesting and hail baling. Grace Simanda, ZBC News, Bulilima.
In other news, the country has been hit by blood group O shortages amid revelations that the National Blood Bank only has 1 day's supply of the precious liquid.
The festive season is associated with high demand of blood, owing to an increase in road traffic accidents. However, the National Blood Services Zimbabwe (NBSZ) has revealed that the country is running out of blood group O stocks.
Our greatest challenge is the blood type O, where we really struggle to ensure that we make sure that our medical institutions get the required blood type. Last year we did at least 3 major blood drives, 1 at Bulawayo, 1 in Harare, 1 in Mutare. We also added up Gweru in September. So this year we have Mashingo on board. I can foresee a situation whereby the Zimbabwean population, the Zimbabwean corporates are also very generous in terms of helping National Blood Service Zimbabwe meet its target. And we really invite all the people out there, should they be churches, should there be community groups who are willing to partner us, we are ready to partner them at any given time. Because we are saying that as National Blood Service Zimbabwe, we need this support, because that is what we call PPP, where we get support from the corporate and we are able to meet our obligation to ensure that we supply all our medical institutions with the required blood stocks.
9,025 units of blood have been collected from the 13th of November 2023 to date, against a target of 1,050 units.
Government has issued a New Year warning for drug peddlers, pledging to intensify efforts meant to curb the vice in 2024. In a statement, the chairperson of the National Committee on Drug and Substance Abuse, Honorable Opamu Chinguri Kashiri, said more measures are being put in place to strengthen the identification and punishment of drug peddlers, especially those targeting children. She said it was disturbing to watch a video of juveniles who were filmed drinking alcohol on Christmas Day. The National Committee on Drug and Substance Abuse also appealed to all community members to be vigilant, cooperate and increase supervision, as well as child protection measures against dealers preying on children. Comrade Muchinguri Kashiri also reiterated that people battling with drug and substance abuse must be supported and referred to facilities where they can get treatment.
A gentle reminder, these and more stories are available on our website in greater detail. Our website is www.zbcnews.co.zw.
Or you could visit us on our social media platforms, that is at ZBC News Online.
Still to come in this bulletin in business. Construction of a tobacco processing plant to spur exports of value-added tobacco.
And in sports, Chevron's interim technical department named squad to take on Sri Lanka in one-day internationals in January.
The main news takes a break. We'll be back shortly with more news. Stay with us.
Feeling a little disconnected from the rest of the world? Reconnect with the hottest entertainment source on the continent. Dust off your DSTV decoder and get connected to non-stop sport. Kids channels for all ages, a local scene like no other, and international movies and series that'll blow you away. Don't get left behind. Download the My DSTV app to pick the package that's right for your family and your pocket. And reconnect today. DSTV, it's your moment.
Levels Production. Hello? Wadi? Wada Gupi? Uripi? Inyanga? Uripi? Kariba? Oh, une boys. Uriku Victoria Falls. Grace Zimbabwe. Chinoi Girls. Macho Force. Itorism iyoyo mu Zimbabwe iri kunaka. Itorism iyoyo ande iri kunaka.
This message is brought to you by the Zimbabwe Tourism Authority. Zimbo. Every journey leads you home. Uripi, ungapi.
May the new season bring glad tidings, love, and peace to you and your loved ones. Here is to new year filled with happiness, success, and exciting opportunities as we all work together towards the Zimbabwe that we all want. With high quality road network, water and air transport, as well as water and sanitation services, sustained construction, rehabilitation, and maintenance of all our rural infrastructure. The Director General of the Rural Infrastructure Development Agency, Mr. Christopher Shumba, Chief Directors, and the entire staff wish you a successful new year with lots of opportunities and speedy rural industrialization.
Welcome back. You are still watching the main news. The Agriculture and Rural Development Authority, ADA, says all is in place for the acceleration of the rural development agenda through the setting up of village business units this year. Wellington Makonese with that report.
The year 2023 saw government embarking on a rural development drive whose target is to establish 35,000 business units in villages through sinking of solar-powered bores and setting up irrigation schemes. Under the drive, a company contracted by government to implement the program, Prevail International, has sunk over 3,000 bores in rural communities across the country.
Very successful. People in the rural areas have already started producing from the nutritional garden that we have installed. People are very happy in the rural communities. People have been empowered in the rural areas, and they are already benefiting from this project.
ADA has also sunk over 2,000 bores and rehabilitated several irrigation schemes under the program.
We are in full support of the government programs as well. So in terms of progress, you find that out of the 460 irrigation schemes which we are rehabilitating so far, we've done 390, and out of the 390, we've already put our business unit managers who are working together with others there, and then that's Agritex, and also working with Department of Irrigation and Water and AMA as well.
Government has placed emphasis on rural industrialization to propel national development as the country targets to be an upper middle income society by 2030. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
We now switch cities from Harare all the way to the city of Kings and Queens, where one of the queens is on standby ready to give us more news. It's over to you, Marilyn.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Zain and Joyce. And now in our following report, the country's target to construct 1 million housing units by 2025 has received a huge boost from private players in Gweru following the establishment of a gated community in the splashy suburb of Mutausi.
The new gated community Mtau suburb in Gweru fits well in the country's blueprint, the National Development Strategy 1, which emphasizes the need to reduce the housing backlog by 2025. The project has thus far completed 25 housing units and created employment opportunities for locals, apart from offering accommodation for Gweru residents.
Su community ya town zirona developer irunyanyo kutufadza isusu savagari vemuno tirikuisirwa complex padhuze so that inge tichitenga zvinhu zvedu padhuze hatichakwanisi kuti tiinde kutown taungokwanisa kutenga tirikuvakirwa tine complex iri kuvakirwa sezvo mabuildings still in progress achiinda uko vachazotivakirawo complex sevagari vemuno.
Tiri kufarawo kuti izvowana isusu tine mhuri yechidiki tiri kuvakirwawo creche plus tinewo moto dzamune muchiona idzi safe station iri kuratidza kuti yapadhuze plus hatichamhanye kuendawo kuchirungu kuenda kunotsvaga zvinhu nekuti tinenge tane complex padhuze.
Tawanawo kubudirawo mukati menzvimbo yedu tingoitawo sesi makamenda tichiwanawo basa
The mega project will see the establishment of a shopping mall and schools in addition to other amenities for the benefit of the community.
I would refer this as a retirement package, and you see that many old people also would probably want to have a very good places to stay as they grow old, and probably staying alone is that their children and grandchildren will grow also to move away, and people want to come in.
The Second Republic has mandated the Ministry of National Housing and Social Amenities to spearhead the construction of affordable housing units with the aim to reduce the country's housing backlog. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Aguero.
Government has reminded the church of its important role in fighting social vices such as drug and substance abuse.
The scourge of drug and substance abuse has seen government reminding the church of the vital role it should play in preserving the nation's moral fabric. The Minister of State for Bulawayo Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Judith Ncube, made the remarks at a church service held recently at the Zimbabwe International Exhibition Center in Bulawayo.
The relationship between the church and the government is very critical, and the church is key to development and to the country's social well-being. Even as we fight against the thorny issue of drug and substance abuse, it is imperative for the church to take a stand in the fight against the substance abuse and addiction.
In response, the church said it is committed to protecting the nation's social well-being through ensuring that youths who are the nation's future leaders shun drug and substance abuse. The past year, drug and substance abuse among youth has been a thorn in the flesh for the nation, and government has been working tirelessly to fight the scourge through the Drug and Substance Abuse Task Force. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Several youths are benefiting from the ZANU-PF youth empowerment programs that have been running for many years now.
Mr. Francis Karunga is one of the beneficiaries of ZANU-PF empowerment initiatives as well as government's black empowerment-friendly policies. Now aged 56, Mr. Karunga is among the people providing training to youths who want to venture into pottery in collaboration with the ZANU-PF Youth League.
Vachienda kunotengesa ndofunga mukatarisa murodho mune vanhu vari kutotengera vachitengesa zvinhu izvozvo vanenge vachibva nazvo pano ende tine vanhu vatiri kuticha vacho vamwe vacho vari kuzoendawo kunze kwenyika. Tine vana vari muSouth Africa vari kutoitawo zvatiri kuita pano. Tine vana vari kuLesotho vari kuita futi zvatiri kuita pano. Tine vana vakaenda kuAustralia vatiri kuita vatakadzidziswa futi basa iroro remaoko. Saka tiri kutarisira kuti vana ngavarambe vachidzidza kuitira kuti vawane ruzivo rwemadziteteguru.
This Tuesday, the ZANU-PF Youth League rolled out an enrollment exercise for youths wishing to undergo training in various trades.
I've just decided to take part in these short courses because this is the right time for us to learn new skills because as the President is saying, Vision 2030, to create an empowered youth. This is the right time for us as youth to utilize this chance and opportunity.
With the
aim of addressing employment challenges and fight drug and substance abuse, the ZANU-PF Youth League Harare Province has partnered private players in the training program with attachment for students guaranteed.
Program iri kuitwa panapa ine chekuita nemuono waPresident weVision 2030 unoda kuti vana vedu vechidiki vawanewo zvekuita vaburitswe mumastreets kunyanya vari kubata zvemutoriro vanoshandisa madrugs akasiyana siyana.
Donzvo rayo nderekuedza kubvisa vechidiki mumastreets nekusatora zvinodhaka zvakafanana nanaguka zviri kutorwa izvi zvakasiyana siyana zviri kukanganisa future yevana vechidiki.
Baking, dressmaking, welding, and ICT are among courses that the youths are enrolling for.
And that's it for myself, Marilyn Gwenya, and the Montrose crew for tonight. Main news continues from Pocket Hill Studios in Harare, and Zain is on standby. Zain, it's back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Marilyn. Indeed, we bring it back to the capital, and still in youthful spirits, youths who are among the greatest national assets in achieving Vision 2030 have been implored to fully embrace the spirit of patriotism in order to increase their participation in the national development drive.
With the major highlight of the year 2023 in the political arena being the successful holding of general elections, youths from at least 10 political parties who recently attended a youth symposium in Mtare concurred that they should direct their energies towards national development, describing elections as a closed chapter.
I believe that is a very important thing, that young people should come together and foster the development of the country together.
As the MDC, we have been advocating for quite a long time for a genuine and inclusive dialogue so that we come up together as a nation for nation building.
After 2023 elections, taona zvakakodzera semayuthi kuti nohande tinobatana semayuthi.
Chakakosha kuti nyika iende mberi.
For parties, the nationalistic agenda should remain.
Representatives of the business community and the church described unity as a game changer for national development.
We are talking about unity as a framework for national development. That is to say, young people from different backgrounds, different political backgrounds need to come together and support development initiatives.
Mukubatana nyika yedu inaenda kumberi kana tabva ma-elections zvataita izvi.
In a show of commitment to promote peace and development, government established the Pollard to promote dialogue among political parties. Kenya's Chivuje, ZBC News, Mutare.
And now shifting our attention to news from beyond our country's borders. The number of people killed in a powerful earthquake that hit Japan on Monday is now at 48. The quake also left a trail of infrastructure damage and triggered tsunami warnings. The details.
Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida said emergency crews were in a race against time, with around 1,000 rescuers searching for people who they think may be trapped beneath the rubble. The quake caused the land to rise up more than 4 meters and move 130 centimeters west. The Japan Meteorological Agency says around 200 tremors have been detected since the quake hit on Monday. The Japanese military is handing out supplies including food, water, and blankets for those who have had to leave home.
Still in Japan, 5 people aboard a Japanese Coast Guard plane have died after their aircraft collided with a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport, which eventually went into flames. Japan's Minister for Transport, Tetsuo Saito, said one captain of the Coast Guard plane was evacuated, but 5 other crew members were confirmed dead. The Coast Guard's plane was due to deliver aid to areas hit by Monday's deadly earthquake. At least 17 of the passengers and crew who were taken off the Japan airplane flight suffered minor injuries. All 379 people on board the craft were evacuated before the plane was engulfed in flames.
Well, our deepest condolences goes to all those who lost their loved ones. The main news takes a break, and when we return, we give you business.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, Honorable Dr. Frederick Schaller, Acting Secretary, Ambassador Rufina Ann Chikala, Chief Directors, Directors, Deputy Directors, and staff in the Ministry extend their hearty congratulations to Ambassador James Manzo following his appointment as a Commissioner at the Public Service Commission. The Ministry will forever cherish Ambassador James Manzo's distinguished service as a career civil servant who joined the Ministry at his formative stage in 1980 and went on to serve in various capacities until the conclusion of his tenure. As As Permanent Secretary for Foreign Affairs and International Trade between 2018 to December 2023, Ambassador James Manzo directed the ministry's strategic objectives in line with the ministry's foreign policy pursuits predicated on reaffirmation, engagement, and re-engagement. The ministry will forever treasure Ambassador Manzo's sterling service as one of his distinguished servants of the ministry, who rose through the ranks to become the Director of Regional and Continental Integration in 2014, among other posts at head office. In between his service at head office, Ambassador Manzo also had a distinguished career as an astute diplomat who served Zimbabwe's missions abroad, namely the United Nations in New York, Germany, Russia, before being promoted as Zimbabwe's ambassador to Angola and Switzerland, Geneva, as the permanent representative. The ministry is deeply confident that Ambassador Manzo will exhibit similar professionalism, integrity, and excellence as a commissioner in the Public Service Commission. The ministry wishes you all the best in your new appointment and all your future endeavors. Congratulations, Makoro Koto Amhlope.
Life is a precious gift, more precious than silver and gold. Parties and alcohol, with road traffic accidents happening every 15 minutes and at least one person dying every 4 hours in Zimbabwe every day. More die over weekends and public holidays. Take heed. Remember your loved ones. Don't drink and drive this festive season. This message is brought to you by the Traffic Safety Council of Zimbabwe.
Welcome back. You're still watching the main news. We jump straight into business news, where the construction of Cut Rag tobacco manufacturing plant by a local firm in Harare is set to increase exports of value-added tobacco, in line with government plans to create a $5 billion United States dollar tobacco industry by 2025.
According to the latest Zimstats figures for the month of November, exports of semi-processed tobacco stood at $210 million during the month of November, accounting for 31% of the $681 million worth of exports recorded. The feat highlights the strides which are being made in value addition of the golden leaf, in line with the tobacco industry value chain transformation strategy, which seeks to create a $5 billion tobacco industry by the year 2025. This comes at a time when a local tobacco manufacturing company has almost completed the construction of the country's biggest cut rag processing plant in Harare, which is set to further spur exports of processed tobacco and harness the tobacco industry value chain. Zimbabwe Tobacco Farmers Growers Association President Mr. George Seremwe said the construction of the plant adds to the country's tobacco processing capacity, adding that farmers should be able to benefit from better prices.
That factory, that processing plant, it will value add and it will transform the whole sector to become a viable sector to the grassroots level. Grassroots level meaning that the small-scale farmer who is now producing the crop, 85% of our crop is coming from the small-scale farmer.
Zimbabwe is the 6th biggest producer of tobacco in the world. However, earnings from the crop do not tally with the global industry value, worth over $800 billion. Government has put in place a roadmap to maximize earnings from this sector by promoting value addition in order to increase export earnings. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
It was a night of Thanksgiving in the arts. That and more up next. Gospel music lovers were treated to a memorable night during live performances at a gospel musical show dubbed A Night of Thanksgiving at the Harare International Conference Center on Monday.
The Harare International Conference Center was packed to the rafters as gospel lovers celebrated the new year in style. Several artists, among them Janet Manyoa, Pastor G, Tim Bellamy, Bethany, Lois Obala, Kayam Tetwa, and Bishop Dube gave polished performances at a musical show meant to celebrate the gift of life in the new year. Gospel music lovers reflected on the refreshing night of Thanksgiving they were having.
We're looking forward to a great time to this show. We are just from Kwekwe, just for this show, and we'll go back. We thank God for taking us through to another season.
Well, you know, it's that time where we just have to say thank you so much to God for making us enter into a brand new year. So for me, 2023 was something else. It taught me a lot of things, had its ups and downs, but here we are, here to praise God in a different way.
This is an amazing night. It has changed so many lives, and I'm grateful. I thank Janet Manyoa for such an event.
I'm here to just praise the Lord for allowing me to see yet another year.
For artists, New Year is an opportunity to thank God for His grace.
I believe when God gives us the opportunity to stand before people and worship, when we have an opportunity to release life, to release hope, to release joy.
Such an amazing performance. I mean, I really didn't expect that response, but it was such a welcoming crowd, and I think just the vibe was awesome. You could really feel the presence of God in the space.
Several music shows were held from this weekend as people celebrated crossover into the new year, and the night of Thanksgiving was one of the shows not to miss. Farai Gwaze, ZBC News, Harare.
Well, indeed, music speaks to the soul and connects us all. Still talking about music, the best in Afro-pop, hip-hop, Zim dancehall and gospel that rocked the airwaves in 2023 were played on ZBC's Power FM radio station's Top 100 show, held annually on the 1st of January.
Rising musicians dominated the Power FM chart on New Year's Day, with Julian King's collaborative effort with Saint Flo taking the crown of the best song of 2023 on the Power FM Top 100. Saint Flo was also a force to reckon, with his song Pamwongo Singadi taking second. Another hit he collaborated with Delro Shewe, dubbed Superstar, was third, while Ndegandi Goni was 15th. Nati O, who dominated the airwaves in 2022, was on 7th with Makanonoka. Other artists who did well in the chart include Holly Ten and Michael Meggs, who featured in more than 5 songs on the track. Nati O, Enzo Aisha, Toki Vibes and Freeman were the other top performers, featuring on the chart more than twice. It was a tough year for big names in the music sector as budding artists dominated the national FM Top 15.
Takatarisa 2023 wedu yange ine mmanzi yakasiyana tinowanzoti nguva zhinji top 50 number 1 inotorwa neSungura asi this year yakatorwa neGT. Muimbi asina zita guru, asina zita hombe. Takatarisa number 1 yedu yange ine muimbi anonzi Boss Popular, ane kambo kakarira pa National FM keGT kanoti ndezvebasa, ndiye angari pa number 1. Number 2 ndipanga naye Hare Mukoma Panga, kambo kakaimba na Mark Ngwazi nemukomana wechidiki anonzi Chipoko cha Sauro, akambo Tadiwa Nashe, kambo keSungura ikako. Mumwe wechi3 aita number 3 nditindo Ngwazi, mumwe arirawo pa National FM pamashifti akasiyana siyana, vanhu vachimukumbira nekambo musatipedzera nguva, angari pa number 3. Number 4 Hamuna Moyo Obet Chari. Tinoyeuka kuti Obet Chari akambotora number 1 nekambo mebho rimwe gore. This year ari pa number 4 zvichiratidza kuti haasi kumira. Number 5 yedu Chiremerera. Ja Praiser ndiye akaita number 5.
2023 saw the rise of budding artists with upcoming musicians dominating the airwaves. Patience Nyagato, SABC News, Harare.
An amazing